Peace, everybody. This is Crimson with episode 1 of the Mental Modification podcast. Thanks for everybody who's listening. Thanks for joining in. On this podcast, I speak about everything metaphysical, occult, esoteric, things beyond the surface, and as the name suggests, mental. Delving into the mind, evolving the mind, enhancing the mind, and gutting out that which is not desirable or that which does not help you undergo the path of self-knowledge and dig out the darker parts of yourself, or rather discover the darker parts of yourself to bring out light. Now, we're going to get right into it. This episode is called Preparation. As simple as that. Now, what I want to speak on is the fact that everything you go through is preparation for what you ask for, whether you know you asked for it or not. So everything you go through, meaning your experiences, what you go through on a day-to-day basis, the situations you see in your dreams, you sitting at the lunch table, you driving and you thinking about, or you're reflecting on, all of these situations that make up the quote-unquote process of your life is preparation for what you asked for. Now, it is also the result of what you asked for, but what we are talking about right now is actually preparation, and we'll get to that in a second. Now, the asking process that I'm speaking about consists of the thoughts that you think on a day-to-day basis, right? These thoughts that you think, whether you know you're thinking them or not, they translate into the behavioral patterns you portray. These behavioral patterns you portray are how you perceive your reality and how you interface with your reality, meaning your overall perspective on what you're doing here, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, why is it quote unquote happening to you, why you're going through it, shit like that. Now, what is a process? Because in order for you to understand preparation or what you're preparing for, you have to understand what a process is, because a process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. Now, most people, again, like you've seen, even if you heard in songs, movies, or whatever, this process we call life, right? Or this story, this experience, this movie, this dream, right? A process is just pretty much to give a picture of it. A process is just a movement in time that you're perceiving, pretty much. And the process of life is quote unquote you moving in this human body, going through the process of life, experiencing all the situations that you go through. So now the process of what I was speaking on earlier, what this podcast is about, and what our ancient ancestors talked about, was attaining the knowledge of self. Pretty much know thyself. That's pretty much the purpose. That's the purpose of the universe. That's the purpose of you. And that's the process that if you undergo that process of self-knowledge, the why, the when, the where, all the questions that you ask of yourself, they're all answered, and you'll realize them through the experiences that you go through. Again, going back to the preparation stage, right? Now, this process is unconventional. Now, I'm preaching to the choir because whoever's listening to this most likely is going through the process. It's unconventional, of course. It doesn't go by the quote unquote rules of humans, of mankind, the social rules, the amendments, all these damn rules that just come up out of nowhere. All right, I guess we're going by this now. All that shit does not apply by that. Unconventional unconventional also means, or you could perceive it as unexpected, because what laws and what is man-made is made to be expected, right? It's to deal with the unknown, or it's to deal with chaos, right? It's to, quote unquote, put a society in order, right? So it's expected of someone that if you, quote unquote, murder somebody, there's going to be justice, right? You just can't get away with that. Somebody's going to run after you. So you're going to get your ass thrown up in a cell. You're going to get a sentence, all that shit, right? So that's what, quote unquote, laws are for. But undergoing the process of attaining knowledge itself is very unconventional, right? It's not that it's unexpected, mean you need to be on your P's and Q's in terms of like walking on eggshells. It's just unconventional. It's not, even if you tried to explain it, it wouldn't abide by the rules of man, right? And it's simple yet difficult as well, because these laws or of the universe that Tahuti pointed out, these help you undergo the process of self-knowledge, because, like, for instance, the law of correspondence, as within, so without, as above, so below. That law in itself shows you that it's simple yet difficult, because, like I was saying, what you go through is a reflection of what's going on in your mind, right? And it's preparing you for what you're asking for, which is what was going on in your mind, whether you know it or not, because that your mind is how you perceive things, right? And so that law right there is meaning as within, so without, meaning if you understand what's going on inside of you, then you can understand what's going on outside of you. But that process is not easy. It's simple, but it's difficult, which is why this is considered the path less traveled, or least traveled, right? There's not many that take this path, right? But it is for the strong. It is for the lighthearted, right? And it's rewarding. That's what I was going to say as well, because knowing things about yourself, you see this in goddamn movies. The hero that undergoes the whole process of just going through the process of, just fighting all of a sudden or whatever. They experience conflict when they're little, and all of a sudden they realize their powers, but it takes them a good minute to actually realize that not only do you have powers, you have to use those powers for a purpose. Once you undergo the realization process and you actualize those powers within yourself, it's not a game no more. You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking adventure, right? Because no longer are you looking at everything as a threat. You're looking at everything as an opportunity to express your power, right? Because that's what a god is, right? In whatever situation it's in, this is where I can dominate. This is where I can create based on my abilities, right? My natural abilities, my skills, what is already within me, creating from within. You know what I'm saying? Bringing out, that's bringing out what's within to what I see in my reality, right? And it's also deifying, right? Because through that realization process, you understand that it's also, you're pretty much dealing with godlike energies in yourself, which is all you, right? Because attaining the knowledge of self, the more and more you know yourself, the more and more you realize that gods are only attributes and principles, right? Energies, expressions of energy. So you acting out these energies is pretty much, once you undergo the process of knowledge of self, and you realize that you're acting out these energies yourself, then what are you but God? Anyway, now going through the life you experience, you undergo a few things, because when you're ignorant, or you're undergoing the process of self-knowledge, you're dispelling ignorance. You're rooting out ignorance, because ignorance is the illusion. You know what I'm saying? And the illusion is ignorance. The fact that you, quote unquote, have to go through the process of knowing yourself is the illusion, but at the same time, that is the process, because all things, if everything, quote unquote, did not need to know itself, how could it know itself? There would be no need for, quote unquote, the process. The process is the act of knowing yourself through experiences, through time, through going through experiences, through undergoing lessons, and assimilating those lessons into yourself and realizing that this was in me all along. Only thing I had to do was go through the experience and realize it in myself. I didn't get it from anywhere outside of me, because I'm interfacing it with the same thing that I've been going with all along, my fucking mind, right? Now, going through this process, you go through, or you realize that the victim mentality, right? The victim mentality that everything's happening to me, woe is me, shit just can't go right, everything's something always going on. I knew that shit was gonna happen to me. I just felt it, man. Fuck, man, it was too good to be true. All these damn sayings is just a fucking victim mentality, right? Which the victim mentality is a part of the experience, right? And it puts you in a position that you're ignorant of the cause, which makes you ignorant of the present, because the cause is, like what I was saying earlier, the thoughts that you think on a day-to-day basis, or the thoughts that you, even though you may not intentionally think them, they're in there because at one point an experience caused you to think those thoughts, and similar experiences cause you to think those thoughts. And every time you go through that experience, you're further enhancing or affirming that thought. Therefore, you're giving that thought more energy. Therefore, you're feeding that ignorance, right? So when you're ignorant of the cause, the thoughts that you think, that makes you ignorant of the present, meaning the situations that you go through. So it's a revolving, vicious cycle that you go through if you're ignorant of the thoughts that you think in your mind, right? And this leads to an infatuation with the past, because it gives you the illusion of control. I've had this experience myself, you know what I'm saying? And plenty of people have had this. I ain't the only one, you know what I'm saying? But I'm speaking on it because this is me. There's situations that you can go through, and instead of dealing with them, you go back to that situation and you try to live it out, or you try to pretty much take care of quote unquote unfinished business, or like, ooh, if I would have said this, ooh, then he would have acted like this, or she would have acted like this, ooh, and every time a certain situation or presents itself like that, or is it similar to that, you undergo that same process. And when you do that, you use your imagination to visualize that occurrence. That's the misuse of the imagination, because the imagination is how you create your reality. The imagination is that force, that visualization that strengthens that your quote unquote third eye, which is your first eye. You know what I'm saying? Because these two eyes are what supports the fucking illusion, right? But that which once you close your eyes and you go in the darkness and you undergo the process of self-knowledge, bringing light out of darkness, that's when you use your imagination. That's when you use your visualization. That's when you use your mind and all your mental powers for creating your reality, rather than validating what's going on outside you, or justifying rather what's going on outside you. Now which leads you to ignorantly attract that which you don't want, but you keep affirming it, right? So when you're undergoing that process of wanting to know yourself, wanting to know what, who, why, when, where you are, you're asking yourself questions. And when you ask yourself those questions, you experience the answers, right? This is why in magic, this is why in occult, this is why when you intentionally affirm, or when you intentionally ask something of yourself, or ask something of spirit, like, this is what I want to know. This is what I want to know about myself, because I just want to know. Simple as that. You experience the answers. That's how your answers come. You know what I'm saying? And they come through downloads. They come through hunches, impulses, urges, and unconventional paths to the quote unquote aha moment, realization, right? But it is your ignorance of those answers and how they present themselves is why you claim the victim. It's why you attribute everything to be from the outside, pointing fingers. This can't be that. This can't be that. Or this is why this happened. and you're pulling from your past. You're pulling from what's comfortable. You're pulling from an answer that gives you the illusion of control, gives you the illusion of being in control of your reality. Now, in order for you to receive what you desire, of course, vibratory alignment is necessary, meaning you need to vibrate that with that which you desire, meaning your thoughts. Because, like I said, everything that you deal with comes from your mind. So, and you interface with it and you understand it and perceive it with your mind. Therefore, you have to align with what you want to experience. I mean, that's just a simple equation. If you want anything, let's say you wanted to get something to eat, right? And you just like, oh man, I'm dying to have this. Oh man, I'm just craving this food or whatever. How do you align with it? You go get it. What is required for the food? Money. If it's not where you're at, what do you need to have? Transportation. That's how you align with your food. I mean, it's that simple. But in the process of creating your reality, it's simple yet difficult, because you have to dispel all those thoughts that had you going with the process that was resisting that which you know you deserve, right? Because once you start going through that process of knowing yourself, you're gonna want to undergo like more experiences that like, I deserve this. What more can I get from this? Not greed, because once you realizing your own power, there is nothing greedy about that. There is nothing greedy about that at all, unless you undergo it with impure intentions, right? To not have empathy with others, not have compassion for others, to just be boasting about your accomplishments, to be cocky, to be haughty, to just be just walk around like your shit don't stink. You know what I'm saying? Walk around like you ain't in the human body yourself. You know what I'm saying? Walking like you ain't going through this process yourself. No. But if you're going through the process of undergoing, like, knowing yourself just because you want to know, you know what I'm saying? There's no limit to that process. And that's actually what is supported with your quote unquote ancestors, with the energies, all that align within you. Why? Because that is the point of the universe anyway. Now we'll go into that in another episode. But now, what does preparation mean? The action or process of making ready or being made ready for use or consideration. Now, preparation is based on an understanding of the goal, desire, position you aim to assume, right? Meaning, in order for you to prepare, right? Like, say for instance, you're preparing for a job, right? Or interviewing for a job. You can't just go in for an interview and you don't know what's going to be expected of you, right? Because that's your goal, that's your desire to get that job, right? So if you're understanding the goal and the position you aim to assume, that's preparation, which undergoes research, right? Meaning, if you're trying to deal with a certain energy, you might be led to a deity, right? That you need to do deity work with. You might be led to a spiritual system, right? That might not be comfortable, right? But again, to undergo knowledge itself, it's unconventional. You don't lock yourself in a box, because once you lock yourself in a box, you're defining yourself. Therefore, you're putting yourself in the human body, and you're saying, I want to be human. You're denying your birthright. You're denying anything that's beyond human, right? And preparation is also based on an understanding of chaos. There are things out of your fucking control. You can't control everything, because why? Just look around. Just look the fuck around. Like, you've gone through, you've had good days and you've had bad days. Could you control those bad days coming? Of course you can control how you look at them, right? But still, can you control bad things, quote unquote, happening? Like, can you control your once you get old, You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't fuck like you want to no more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just keeping it real. Can you control in the human body somebody just veering into your lane out of nowhere? You just strolling, rolling 60, right? And all of a sudden somebody just... That's another entity coming from some other lane, veering into your lane. Can you control that? Hell no. Is everything perfect down here? Hell no. Because if it was, what the fuck would we be doing down here? I mean, like, what would be the point? If everything was perfect, what would be the point of doing anything? So it has to be a process. A process is necessary. Which, if the process is necessary, anything in that process is, especially if you desire to experience something, you have to prepare for it. Right? It's no just like, oh yeah, I just want to experience this thing, and then boom, you experience it. Because if it was easy, anybody could do it. You've heard that shit before. Shit happens. I mean, that's a part of the human experience. Becoming comfortable with what you can't control. But also becoming comfortable and going after what you can control. That's what you put your focus on. And putting your focus on that is, once you continuously, perpetually, fervently go towards that process, especially because if it's something you can control, that means it's something that is within your power, right? And where does power come from? Inside. It don't come from outside. Because if it comes from outside, it can get snatched away just as quick as you got it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it real. There's plenty of niggas that's done became presidents, prime ministers, done got up to just big ass stages of power. Like, you just gotta have quote unquote anything in the world, and all of a sudden you get shot right in the fucking head. Yeah, here come election day and your ass don't get elected, and there goes your power, buddy. I mean, hey, that's the shit. That's what it is. Meaning, if you're preparing for that which you want to know about yourself or that which you want to experience, it is your duty to leave as little room as possible for negotiation. Meaning, preparing for what you asked of yourself, meaning reprogramming your mind. All right, this is what I want to experience. The affirmations, repetitively telling yourself, this is what I want to experience. Watching quote unquote videos, reading books, lectures, meditating, visualizing, you know what I'm saying? Corresponding with rituals, you know what I'm saying? Doing that shit, you're leaving as little room as possible for negotiation, right? Because if you want to experience something, the best preparation is to act like you're already it. Is to be it. Negotiation meaning like, I don't know. Why don't we just go back that way? You know, I mean, we know that road. You know what I mean? I'm saying we done been that road many a time. We done seen it many a time. We know who's gonna come across it. You know what I'm saying? We know when to turn left. We know when to, when the light turn yellow right here. It's about 3-5 seconds before this one turn green. We gonna go. I mean, come on, man. It's comfortable. Why wouldn't you want to do that, my nigga? That's negotiation. You know what I'm saying? You're going back and forth with your ego because that's what's comfortable. What's comfortable is resisting change. That's not preparing. That's disregarding there's anything to experience other than where you're at right now. Well, what the fuck fun is that? I mean, come on now. Because that's what we're down here to have. Look, the process of knowing yourself is the most fun you will ever fucking have. Because going through the adventure, like boom, 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 coming out alive, coming out without a hair singed. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I've been through this shit. What else could possibly be worse than this? Right? Meaning, if you've gone through experiences and you're going through those, dispelling the illusion, getting rid of those bad experiences. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not comfortable. You go through the process because when you prepare for what you ask for, going through that preparation process, you've seen it in militaristic movies, in war movies, military dramas. Look at them. When they know they're about to go overseas or they know they're about to battle, they're getting their spears ready, they're getting their guns ready, they're getting their shields ready, they're packing their bags, they roughing each other up, right? Just, hey, you ready? You ready? Nah, I just got something on my mind, man. And what does somebody else tell them? Hey, yo, you can't be thinking about her. Cause if you think about her, you ain't never gonna make it home to her. You know what I'm saying? That's the shit. You gotta change. You can't be thinking about, quote unquote, back home. You can't be thinking about where you used to stay. You can't be thinking about what's comfortable. You can't be thinking about, oh, what you did last week. Oh, I want to do it again and again and again and again. New experiences are why you're here. New experiences are what you prepare for. New experiences are how you know yourself. New experiences are how you gain power over yourself. Because what else is there? What else is there to do other than figure out what the fuck you're doing here? Isn't that what the question that everybody asks of themselves? What am I doing here? Why am I here? Why am I going through this? Why is it me? Why didn't he have to go through it? That's isn't that what little kids, you know what I'm saying, when you're in school, teacher calls on you or you getting disciplined, scolded for whatever you did, and then he did it. Why didn't he do it? Why didn't you say nothing to him? You in a group and you laugh. You laughing in the back of the teacher. Hey, so-and-so, get your ass up here. Go to detention. Well, now why the fuck didn't you say anything to him? That's a common experience. Why is that a commonality in the human experience? Why? Why is this happening to me? Why? The only way that you can understand why is to get in the habit of figuring out what the fuck am I doing? What's going on in my head? Why am I attracting this? Why am I going through this experience? Because when you negotiate, right? When you negotiate and when you keep going back and forth and like, I don't know if I want to go forward or not, you succumb to past habits, past addictions, past vices, past ways, beliefs on how to deal with certain shit, and you resist the flow of the process. And you might know what you must do, but you postpone it. And when you keep postponing it, you keep moving a cycle that you're supposed to evolve from into, quote unquote, the future, which really is only the now, right? Because when you postpone a certain thing that you're supposed to go through, you're only pretty much putting yourself back in that same position over and over and over and over and over again. You're pretty much attracting, yes, you're saying I am comfortable here. Even though you may go through the experience and be like, oh man, this was just, why did I have to go through this? You're going through the same thing because that's all that you know. That's all that you want to fucking know. Right? This takes work. This is not easy. This is not an easy process. This is not something that happens overnight. Like anything else. That's why our ancestors always put in text that it was preparing for something. You were never just sitting somewhere. It was always a story. It was always a mythology about something, some process to where you're going from a state of ignorance to a state of knowing, right? And the only way that you can go in a state of knowing is preparing for the processes that require you to fight for knowing, right? Not fight physically, but fight meaning mentally. It's a war, meaning you're going through the process of dispelling ignorance. And the only way that you can dispel ignorance about yourself is to prepare to know yourself. Because, like people say, the truth blinds some people. Truth, actual truth, is light. And if you're not ready for the light, it's gonna hurt your eyes. But if you intentionally say, I want to know this about myself because I just want to know, not so you can just spit it out to somebody else and like, hey, look what I found. Or try to put it on somebody, hey, look what I know. Nigga, you dumb as hell. Nigga, you dumb as hell because you don't know what I know. No. To undergo and actually intentionally want to know and want to receive light or want to realize light within yourself, you got to prepare for it. And the only way to prepare for it is to make the preparation your lifestyle, to make whatever you desire and whatever you want to know about yourself or whatever you think about yourself, being a God, a lifestyle. Preparing for any situation. You see this in athletes. You've seen this in all these athletes, even though they're getting the check. You might see bodybuilders or weightlifters or runners or anywhere that might be in a motivational tape or inspirational tape or whatever. Most people say, I work out because I want to prepare myself for whatever life brings me. What the fuck you think that means? Not because you're gonna go shooting everybody. Not because you're gonna go punching everybody. You want to be in that state to deal with it. Not in a state because anything that requires elevation requires more strength, more power. And the only place that can come from is where? Within yourself. So undergoing this process of preparation, you must unlearn, release, detach, and unburden yourself to allow the dormant energies of your mind to fill the gaps, the voids you seek to fill with these vices, these addictions, that which just the lack of preparation, right? Because when you undergo a situation and that you weren't prepared for, it's annoying, right? It's fucking annoying. But intuition, spirit, once you go though so many circumstances like, I knew I should have did that. How did you fucking know? Nobody told you, but you're saying, I knew I should have. I shouldn't have did that. Or I should have. Where is it coming from? Nowhere but your goddamn self. So stay in preparation mode. Like I said, this is not anticipation. You're preparing to die. You're preparing to die and undergo the process of death and rebirth. Death, rebirth. I'm ready to die. Ready to die for what you believe in is really ready to die for what you know is true. Meaning, if you have undergone the quote unquote, like I've said, self-knowledge, if you want to know something, you're willing to die to know it, right? Or you're willing to give up your past self to assume the position of what you already know. Because, you can't serve two masters, right? And if you're trying to, quote unquote, assume the position of that which you know, or that which you've come to know about yourself, you can't put that last body, or that which you have in your last body, or in your last, quote unquote, mindset, you can't bring that. Because it's going to be conflict. And conflict is chaos. You're trying to bring order to chaos by understanding what chaos is. By becoming chaos, by preparing for anything which is chaos, infinite possibilities, you have to bring order to yourself. Preparation is order. You've seen it. Preparation is organization. Preparation is discipline. Preparation is paying attention to details. Preparation is literally paying attention to whatever the fuck I need to do for this situation. Meaning if this is the only thing that I can control, me, everything that is me, whatever is in my mind, that is what I need to control. That is what I need to prepare for me. I'm preparing myself for me. I'm preparing myself for me. I'm preparing myself for a quote unquote higher version of me. I'm preparing myself for a new role in my adventure. Any niggas that's seen The Lord of the Rings, any of these movies like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, any of these mythologies or stories modeled after our original mythologies show you that there's different stages of the journey. And different stages of the journey require different preparations or preparatory or different processes of preparation. Different things that you need to acquire, different ways, different thoughts, different rituals, different regimens that you need to assume or assimilate into yourself, different ways that you need to go about setting yourself up for the situation that you're about to go through. Shit like that. So that's what this first episode is about, just preparation. Prepare for what you ask for. If you asking of yourself, or if there's something that you want to experience, there's something that you want to know, if there's something that you've come to the realization of, oh, I get it now, to apply that knowledge and to go through a new experience and acquire wisdom based on you attaining that knowledge, you need to prepare for it. It's not about fighting anybody but your goddamn self. It's about fighting your past self. It's about getting rid of that which you've become comfortable with, because comfort is equated to ignorance. Now, don't get me wrong. When you acquire prosperity in its many forms, that's when you feel safe, you feel secure within yourself, and you feel an aspect of comfort. But comfort in the aspect of not wanting to do anything, just wanting to stay where you're at, just wanting to pretty much, or like the negative perspective of the hermit, meaning I don't want to come out because I don't want to experience this. There's danger out there. You know, anything can happen out there, you know, and just getting all these situations in your head of what the fuck could happen instead of what the fuck you can make happen, based on getting rid of the shit that's resisting that which you desire anyway and you deserve. Prepare.